It is a beautiful evening for some spring baseball here at Campanelli Stadium. Welcome everyone to today's evening action between the BR Trojans and the Brockton Boxers. I'm Brett Schaubs alongside John Luck. John, this is a huge day for BR and Brockton as well. They get to play in the historic stadium of the Brockton Rocks as they look to travel on some more success as their short season gets underway this season.
Yeah, certainly a very unique season, of course, much like all the other sports here in the 2021 athletic season, shortened, as you mentioned, down to about 10 or 12 games for both of these teams. And one of the underlying storylines is John Carney. We'll talk a little bit about this as the broadcast goes on, coaching in his final season as BR Trojans manager. But for the BR Trojans team right now, they want to play very well for Coach Carney. He's meant a lot to their playing careers here, and they certainly want to send them out on a high note. And I believe if they go just about perfect, they'll have a shot at giving him 300 career victories.
Yeah, certainly an amazing run for Carney himself, and he'll look to come out with a bang this year. So let's move in to our BR lineup starting up tonight. Leading off will be Jacob Balsamo at third base. Moving into center field will be Cole Gallant. At shortstop in the 3-hole will be Austin Hartzell. At 4, catcher will be Nolan DeAndre. And in the 5 slot, it's Kyle Wilcox. Nick Tebow will be batting in the 6th spot at right field. Colin Ronayne will be in left. Sam Hofsis will be at second base today for the Trojans. And James Nicholas will be doing the DH work for BR today. On the hill for the Brockton Boxers today is Chris Carbonara, as he will look to get off to a hot start and potentially a win today for his hometown Brockton High School.
Carbonara had a great outing against Quincy. Last season he went 4-3, for his sophomore season he went 4-3 with a 1.65 ERA, and against Quincy he threw 10 strikeouts. So Carbonara, once he gets rolling, can certainly go off for a good streak.
Boxers coming in today's game 1-1 overall. Meanwhile, the Trojans coming in at an impressive 3-1 start this season. As we are set to go here at Campanelli Stadium, where the Rocks are about to kick off in just about a week and a half. And we will get rolling with Balsamo leading off for the Trojans, number 5. The senior infielder bats both right-handed and throws right-handed. And he will look to get off the spark here for Carney and the Trojans. You see Carbonara throwing around. Umpires trying to decide the final lineups here, getting things straight away. Last thing you want is a substitution malfunction, and then you get that game ended for a 15-minute delay trying to figure out what's going on, but it looks like we are all straightened away, and we are ready to go here at Campanelli Stadium. Like I mentioned, Balsamo leading off the third baseman. Boxers spread out deep into the infield as we get going. Here's the opening pitch from Carbonara, and that is popped up. Over to Carbonara, he calls off his infield, and he will be right under it for the first and quick out. 1 pitch, 1 down.
Looks like very simply, Balsamo just got the ball right off the end of the bat, allowing Carbonara to make the relatively easy catch off the mound.
So coming in now is Cole Gallant, the center fielder, number 11, also batting right-handed for today's contest. And here's the first pitch from Carbonara. That pitch upstairs for ball 1. Not often you see pitchers go 1 pitch, 1 out immediately. Sometimes it just takes them a little while to get into that groove, find their sweet spot. As there's his first strike of the day right there. 1-1 count now for Carbonara. Gallant as well, a senior outfielder for the Trojans this season. And that'll go right off of his helmet, and that'll be a dead ball immediately. So Carbonara, pitch shaken up there off of that hit by pitch, and the Trojans have their leadoff guy at first to start him off.
Looks like very luckily there for Gallant, took an off-speed pitch to the helmet. Luckily it wasn't a fastball, and he knew it was coming, so he had enough time to turn his head, and if you're going to be hit anywhere in the helmet, you want it to be in the back.
So here comes the shortstop, 3-hole hitter, Austin Hartzell. And John, this kid has been very impressive thus far for the Trojans this season. It's a pickoff attempt over to first, and it won't be there in time. Gallen there safely aboard.
John Carney was very complimentary of his number 3 hitter here, Austin Hartzell. And Hartzell was very complimentary of his manager, saying that he wanted to make sure that they gave John Carney a very successful season in his 23rd season as Trojans head coach, or manager rather.
That pitch upstairs for ball 1 on Hartzell. Takes a look over to first. Another pickoff attempt. Throw over, won't be in time once again. Witt tried to put down the tag, but simply didn't get it down to his knees. 1-0 count now on Hartzell. Trying to advance the runner here in a early situation for the Trojans. Runner goes, and that is a base hit over to right field. And that will be in plenty of time. Running over to third base is Gallen. He will get there in plenty of time. And Austin Hartzell is aboard with his first hit of the day. It's first and third for BR.
Almost looked like Gallen was trying to play off of contact. It looked like he was trying to steal the base, and luckily the right fielder for Brockton Foreman had a tough time picking the ball up, allowed Gallen to get into third very easily. There you see the ball off of Hartzell's bat right in that sweet spot. And it looks like as Foreman tried to pick it up off the ground there, had a difficult time. Couple bobbles, and Gallen on third, Hartzell on first.
Pitch perfect hitting right there. The key in baseball is to try to get it in the gaps of the infield, especially because it just makes it that much more difficult, for a infielder to try to make that play and create an out. But the BR Trojans are chugging right away in this first inning as Nolan DeAndre steps in now, trying to get the first run aboard. The junior catcher. And here's the delivery from Carbonara. Runner goes, and he will be aboard safely. Throw over to third, and he's got himself in a pickle. Gallen looking back and forth. Over back to the catcher. Gallen trying to run his way out of the situation, and the tag will be applied by LaRusso for the second out. So Hartzell makes it over to third in the entire situation, but the potential first running Gallen is placed out by LaRusso rather, and that will be the second out for the Trojans.
Almost looked like Carbonara there almost threw off the timing of Gallen, because if Carbonara didn't get the ball on the pitcher's mound, I think Gallen would have scored very easily. And unfortunately for Gallen, he ran out of options as Hartzell continued going from first to third.
Ground ball over to third. Hopkins makes the throw over to first. It is picked off in plenty of time for the third out. So the Boxers get away with no runs scored in the top of the first. We'll be right back with some more action here at Campanelli Stadium.
I used to think Lions Club was all about just meetings and eye tests and that sort of thing. This demonstrates that you guys are big and you're out there, you're willing to help, and we just really appreciate it big time.
It's really sad, but we have to help. It's our goal.
We are often first to respond.
食料、水、医療、そして避難所を提供し、
重建这房屋、学校跟其他的建筑物。
Somos sus vecinos.
We're Lions.
Welcome back here to Campanelli Stadium, bottom of the first inning. The Boxers are up to bat now as they look to create some momentum after a rocky top of the first inning. Had first and third, and luckily LaRusso was there in plenty of time to create the pickle on Cole Gallen and create that potential out for the Trojans themselves. And here we go with the Brockton Boxers lineup. Nicholas Viega is going to lead off for the second baseman. Brady Ensko will start in left field today at the 2 spot. Carbonara, the pitcher, will be in the 3rd. Brady Witt 4th. Dominic Hopkins will do the work at 3rd base. Sammy Balti will be at DH. Brady Foreman at right. Brady Hopkins at short. And then Armani LaRusso will round it out at catcher. Jackson O'Brien will not be hitting today for the Boxers. Instead, it'll be Balti at the DH slot. So pitch in the ground there on Viega to start off.
And getting back to the Trojans in the top of the 1st inning, as you mentioned, runners on 1st and 3rd. Certainly, if this game doesn't go in BR's favor, they're going to go back to that top of the 1st inning and look at some of the base running issues.
Ronayne over to 1st, and that is in there for plenty of time for the 1st out. So 1 up, 1 down for the Trojans. History repeats itself from the top of the 1st. And just like that, Legaitis, the starting pitcher today for the Trojans, gets his 1st out of the day.
Very simple one-hopper, and those are the outs that you certainly appreciate as an infielder.
First pitch outside for Ensko. Ensko will be the left fielder today for the Boxers. He looks to start it off. Fouled off, and that'll be just by the press box up here at Campanelli, and it'll be 1-1 count for Ensko.
Been a while since we heard the Steel get pelted with a baseball.
It certainly has been a while. It was a long off season here for the Trojans and the Boxers after the COVID-19 pandemic last year. As that ball was popped up back there in plenty of time. As DeAndre can't get the catch, though. Tried to slide over by the wall and can't make it happen. Nonetheless, it'll be a 1-2 count here for Legaitis.
DeAndre had to be very careful. If you mistimed the slide there too late, DeAndre could have slammed his leg into the wall, and that would have been some issues you wouldn't want for your catcher, much less a student.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything a part of a catcher is with the legs, especially the knees as well. So if something happens and there's an injury right there, it's going to be a long recovery for that especially. Here's the 1-2. Off speed, just misses upstairs, and it'll be tied at 2 now for the count. Michael Legaitis, the junior pitcher, also plays outfield. Rights and bats and throws righty, rather. Pitch down low, it'll be full now.
Right now, if you're Ensko, Legaitis has had a very difficult time trying to find the strike zone, so at this point, you have to wonder if you just let him throw his way into figuring things out here on this full count pitch.
And the 3-2. Chop over to the BR dugout, and it'll stay full. So Legaitis gets another chance, and Ensko trying to create something early for the Boxers. Like we said, have started this season 1-1 in the Southeast Conference. And here's that full count pitch once again. Popped up over to second base. And it'll be caught rather by Legaitis for out number 2. He calls him off. So 2 up, 2 down for the Boxers. Now it's up to Carbonara, the starting pitcher, to get things going. And we'll see if he can have some success both ways here. Got out of it in the top of the 1st, and maybe we can see a late hit here. Here's the opening from Legaitis. Called strike, looked a bit inside, but nonetheless he gets the call.
Yeah, we're on the side that Carbonara is batting on, so as you said, it looks like it was really close to the chalk line there.
And the 1 strike. Delivery, it's also getting called there, so quickly down is Carbonara. He gets the outside call. And now he's forced to fight off that 0-2 count. Deadly for so many batters in this sport. And here it is from Legaitis. And just missed by DeAndre there underneath his glove, and it'll be 1-2 now.
I had to imagine Brockton coming off of a bit of a momentum builder in their last game back on Wednesday, coming back from a 5-run deficit. They were down 5-0, came back to win 6-5. Brady Foreman earning the win there.
And this ball is launched to left field. And it is over the head of Hopkins, of Balsamo rather. And that will be a double there for Carbonara. It gets over the head of Ronayne rather in left field. And just like that, Carbonara with a huge starter for the Boxers today.
We talked before the game at the fact that the pitcher was batting number 3, and when you're hitting the ball like this right off the end of the bat, certainly a big momentum builder. And when it went over the left fielder's head, that allowed Carbonara to get into second base fairly easily.
As this pitch is called for the first strike on Brady with the first baseman. So he is now in a decent situation. 2 outs though, man on second. Here's the 0-1 from Ligaitis. Big hack, but it's just tipped foul. And once again, an 0-2 situation for Ligaitis. He'll try to put him away this time. Bottom of the first. Man on second. 2 outs here at Campanelli, home of the Brockton Rocks. Here's the delivery. Chopper over to third. Balsamo, the throw over to first. Jumping up there is Wilcox, and he will step on the bag in plenty of time for out number 3. So the big double by Carbonara doesn't amount to any runs for the Trojans. We are going, for the Boxers rather, we are going into the top of the second inning here at Campanelli. You're listening to BTV. Top of the second inning getting started here at Campanelli Stadium as the Trojans look to get something started here. History almost repeated itself in that first inning from the top to the bottom. We saw that pop fly to the pitcher on both sides, and then an awesome hit by Hartzell in the top, and then Carbonara had that electrifying double in the bottom of the first, but none of the top or bottom mounted to any runs, so we are still scoreless in this second inning. Kyle Wilcox, the first baseman for the Trojans, will get things started. And here's the delivery from Carbonara. Big cut there by Wilcox. Doesn't get anything there, and it'll be another strike on him. The lengthy delivery. Called strike 2 now on Wilcox. We saw warm-ups Carbonara getting ready with that lethal curveball. He's known to have a nice off-speed pitch, and he's going to be using that quite effectively here at Campanelli today. And here's the put-out attempt, and he gets the called strike 3. So an upstairs curveball from Carbonara gets the first out here.
Just the way Carbonara sets up the pitch, it can certainly be deceiving to a batter. The way he sets back all the way here, he can change his finger grip very easily, try and throw off the hitter. That was one thing I noticed when I saw him warming up for the second inning. Look at how far back he reaches before he throws the ball.
First pitch, once again inside. Carbonara getting that inside call. Working that chalk line, as you mentioned earlier. Stepping in is Nick Tebow, the right fielder. Known to have a big bat. Grounder over to short. Ensko fields it cleanly, trying to make the throw over to win. He makes a nice pick for the second out. So 2 up, 2 down quickly for Carbonara, and he is going to work here for the Boxers.
Mentioned he had 10 strikeouts in his last start, and as I said, it was all about how you get going after the initial start. He had some bumps in the first inning, but now it looks like he's starting to find his groove here in the second frame.
Here's the opening pitch to Colin Ronayne. That pitch down low. Nice job by LaRusso there to field it cleanly. 1-0 count to start him off. Ronayne as well, a junior. Also plays catcher from his normal outfield as we see today. That pitch just misses up high. It'll be 2-0 now for Ronayne. Waiting on deck is Sam Hofsis, the second baseman. Here's the 2-0. Once again, up high. Carbonara not getting the spot that he wants from the home plate umpire. And he is down quickly on a 3-0 count. And here is that 3-0 pitch. And ball 4 misses down and inside on Ronayne. So with 2 outs, the Trojans have their leadoff man on. Stepping in now, as we alluded to earlier, Sam Hofsis.
And right now, if you're Carbonara here, you don't really have to worry about Ronayne on first base with 2 down. You can kind of play this a little traditional here.
Ronayne taking a nice lead over at second, and he is on his horses. The throw over for LaRusso is a bit too high, and Ronayne is in there with plenty of time. So now the man is in scoring position for Hofsis. With 2 outs here, he is a base hit away from potentially breaking this game open for BR.
Or BR is going to play aggressive here with 2 down, sending Ronayne. And Ronayne in very easily there, as Viega had to get up in front of the base to get the ball.
Another extended lead by Ronayne. Pitch out. That'll be another ball for Carbonara. You see Hofsis a little bit more of an open stance today, maybe trying to pull the ball towards left field. Steps off. Hard throw over to second. Tried to get the pick off in time, but he doesn't get there. Ronayne safely aboard now at second base again. And here's the pitch from 44. Big cut up high, and Hofsis does not get a piece of that one, and it'll be another strike on him now. Bit cloudy here at Campanelli Stadium today. It was mostly sunny throughout the day. Also have a slight breeze coming to the south. It'll certainly help a lot of these pitches that Carbonara and Legaitis are throwing today. And that'll be another foul ball chopped towards BR's dugout. Looked like he was trying to get down low to reach for it, but doesn't extend that bat fully. And he'll be down once again. So Hofs is trying to drive in the potential go-ahead run here on second base. And Carbonara just trying to get out of another rocky inning as he steps off, and Ronayne will retreat back to second. Two outs here, top of the second inning. Here's the put away. And this pitch is fought off by Hofsis, and that'll travel backwards behind the press box here, and it'll stay with a put away attempt by Carbonara.
At the very least here, BR driving up that pitch count of Carbonara already in the second inning. Have to imagine he's getting fairly close to around 30 pitches or so.
Yeah, certainly don't want to be this high in the pitch count like you mentioned, especially this early in the game as he misses with that off speed up high.
It almost feels like that stolen base from Ronayne almost got into the head of Carbonara, because until he had that runner on first base, he was starting to mow through a couple of batters. It seemed like he started figuring out the strike zone. Now he's having a difficult time getting anything going.
Yeah, certainly runner behind you can have a difficult approach in your mentality as that ball is popped up. Back over there is Viega to make the catch and put it away for out number 3. So once again, the Trojans leave another man on base. No run scored here from Bridgewater Rainham. We're going into the bottom of the second inning. You're listening to BTV. Michael Legaitis set out for another inning of work as we get started in this bottom of the second inning at Campanelli Stadium. Dominic Hopkins, the third baseman, set to get things rolling for the Boxers as they try to take an early lead here in what seems to be a close game this far and an offensively strong contest. And Hopkins will fight off an inside pitch to start him out. This pitch right down Main Street for strike number 2. So Legaitis changes his mentality and he is coming out throwing gas right away. It is 0-2 on Hopkins. And here's this put away from Legaitis. Tries to mix it up there, but ball gets away from DeAndre, and it'll be 1-2 now for BR.
Looks like Legaitis tried going off speed there after throwing a fastball right down the middle, trying to throw off Hopkins.
And here's the 1-2 from Legaitis. Inside pitch, he doesn't get the call that Carbonara was getting earlier, and it'll be tied at 2 now in the count. And here's the 2-2 on Hopkins. Once again, misses outside, so a 3-2 count now is the result from what was potentially a put-away opportunity. And now Legaitis has to try and finagle strike here for an out. And here's that 3-2 pitch. And this ball is launched into the right center gap, but there in plenty of time is Cole Gallen to put it away for out number 1.
Sounded good coming off the bat of Hopkins, but that wind is coming straight in. So that certainly allows Gallen enough time to find the ball and get out number 1 of the bottom of the second.
So in the bat now is Sammy Balti, the designated hitter. And he'll ground that out over to the third base side. Colliding there is Legaitis and Balsamo, and they will not get the out. We'll see if it's recorded as an error. But nonetheless, the Boxers have their first man on in the second inning, and Brady Foreman will try to bring him home now with potentially one swing of the bat.
I would have to think that's going to be a hit because Balti just hit this thing perfect, and the third baseman, Balsamo, is going to have a very difficult time at getting the ball to first, but Legaitis just tried doing a little too much there coming off the mound, providing some help.
So he'll step off here as we get a quick timeout. Balti fixing his helmet over at first. But Brockton High School's been very successful the past month and a half or so. Their football team, after waiting all season to play, took home the Southeast Conference title. Their first time in history winning the championship. As this is grounded hard over to third. Trying to get the double play. The throw over to first, and it is caught in plenty of time by Wilcox. So a beautiful 5-4-3 double play is produced, and the Trojans get away with no runs. You are listening to BCA on BTV. We'll be right back.
No mental mistakes, no mental mistakes.
My name is Caitlin Brown. I am 17 years old and am a senior in high school. Since I was 5, I attended St. Clair's all-girl private school. But when my dad's job moved us east, I started to attend a public school for the first time in my life. As soon as I started high school, the other students started making jokes about how I look and dress. As time went on, I finally made 2 friends, Angela and Nathan. However, all this came to an end quickly when Nathan cheated on Angela with me. It wasn't until after word got out that I realized he was Angela's boyfriend. After that, no matter how hard I tried to make things better, people just hated me more and more. And after 6 months of this nonstop torture and crying myself to sleep, I just couldn't take it anymore. My name is Caitlin Brown. I'm 17 years old, and I took my own life yesterday because of high school bullying.
Chris Carbonara set out for another inning of duty as James Nicholas, the cleanup hitter, will get things started for the Trojans in this fast-paced top of the third now. Trojans had a beautiful double play to end the previous half inning that put a stop to a productive inning by the Boxers. And here's the opening, and it is bunted right over to Carbonara. He'll throw it aggressively over to Witt at first, and he will get the out in plenty of time. So crisis averted there by Carbonara. He gets that first out.
A little too much air there on the bunt, allowing Carbonara to come off the mound very easily and get the ball to first.
It's now back to the top of the order. Balsamo taking charge now in the right-handed batter's box. So here's Carbonara again, working that curveball. He finds it outside for strike one.
You mentioned before the break that Brockton beat BR in football for the Southeast Conference Championship. That was the final game for BR's head coach Dan Biron, someone that John Carney had coached under for a long time on the football team. And Brockton certainly looking to send BR off on the same note here, getting the better of the BR manager.
Yeah, certainly a lot of history between these two squads, as you mentioned earlier. Coach Carney of BR finishing his last season as the head coach of the Trojans. Trying to end up with a bang here. And here's that 1-1. Misses down low, and it'll be 2-1 now on Balsamo.
Of course, BR has been a very successful baseball team here in the high school ranks, of course, going back to 2013 when the team won the state championship over in Neshoba.
Here's that 2-1, and this is scorched over to short, but in plenty of time there is Ensko, and he makes the catch for out number 2.
This is the type of inning that Carbonara needs, a very easy 1-2-3 inning.
Two outs now. Carbonara wheeling and dealing in this top of the third inning. And here's his opening pitch to the second slot hitter here, Cole Gallen. Gallen was the first man on for the Trojans with that hit by pitch back in the first. Got him right in the helmet. Here's the second delivery, and it's downstairs once again. It'll be another ball for Carbonara. Two outs in the top of the third at Campanelli Stadium. Here's the pitch from Carbonara. Once again, a nice pick by LaRusso. And it's 3-0 here for Carbonara.
Some of these pitches very easily seem like release point issues for Carbonara.
And here's the 3-0 from Carbonara, trying to get something going. Grounded over to third. A nice scoop there by Hopkins, makes the long throw over to Witt at first, and he gets it in time. A 1-2-3 for Chris Carbonara, and he gets the job done for the Boxers. We'll be right back with some more action at Campanelli. You're listening to a joint presentation by BCA and BTV.
Not only does texting while driving significantly reduce your reaction time, but you are also 10% more likely to leave your lane. This commercial was 30 seconds. That's all it takes to avoid a senseless tragedy.
Bottom of the third inning set to get underway, and the Boxers take charge here on offense now after a nice 1-2-3 inning by Chris Carbonara and company. Brady Harkins, the shortstop, will get things started at the leadoff slot. And this pitch held off by Harkins, but nonetheless called for a strike upstairs. Home plate umpire has been giving that high and inside call so far today. Here's that 0-1 from Legaitis. Once again inside, and he gets that call. Another inside strike.
It almost looks like Lagais is trying to figure out just how inside he can go with some of these pitches here.
As a pitcher, you just want to push those buttons as much as possible. And this pitch down low, and it'll be 1-2 now.
It's almost like you want to test the umpire, just see where exactly the parameters are and see if you can maybe get some more favorable calls for your team.
Exactly, and this pitch is poked into right field, and it won't get there in time. So Nick Tebow tried to slide and make the catch, but it's a base hit now for Brady Harkins, and he is aboard for the Boxers.
Again, the wind is blowing in here, and Tebow looks like he slides just a little too early as the ball bounces up and over his glove. Good job by Gallen there, getting the ball inside to the infield very quickly.
Stepping in now is Armani LaRusso, the catcher. Rounding out this order, and a pickoff attempt there to Wilcox, and he won't get there in time. And Harkins is safely back at first. No outs, man on first for Lagaitis, trying to avoid the crisis here, and this pitch is inside. No go over at first.
BR anticipating the bunt as Balsamo playing in here on this setup defensively.
Harkins taking a nice lead over at first. Staying comfortable. Always alert, though. Another pickoff attempt. Wilcox can't get the glove down in time. The guy is paying close attention. Almost as though he feels as though a steal is coming any moment now. Still working the 1-0 count. Bunt shows. Can't get it down in time. It's still a called strike on LaRusso. So 1-1 count now. As the sun starts to peek out here at Campanelli Stadium.
A little breezy.
It is a little breezy up here in the press box especially. Certainly working well for the pitchers down there. And here's that 1-1. And that is chopped foul. Late swing there by LaRusso, and it'll just get into the stands behind the Bridgewater-Rainham dugout. And it'll be a 1-2 put away coming up here for Lagaitis.
Almost a nice one-handed grab there by the fan nonchalantly.
And nonchalantly, we award fans especially for those types of catches. It's not often you see someone laying out, especially in Major League games, too. You see fans giving their 100% effort trying to get that game ball.
I think it was, Philadelphia, where the guy made the save and he still had his sundae, so, his significant other was safe, didn't have to get hit by a ball, and he still had his ice cream sundae.
Hey, there you go. It's a win-win situation. There was a situation, too, where I believe it was Miguel Cabrera let go of the bat and almost hit someone in the head, but manages to just get his hand up and catch that bat in the stands. As this pitch is called strike 3 on the inside corner. Once again, Lagaitis working that inside pitch, and he gets the strike 3 on LaRusso for 1 out.
A lot of these pitches happen on the inside part of the plate for Lagaitis. That was over the plate, just a little bit low. Good call by the ump.
So Viega back up for the Boxers. Another pickoff over to first on Harkins. Lagaitis making sure he is not comfortable whatsoever. Viega trying to advance his guy. And here's that pitch inside, and it catches him on the leg. Maybe not. Throw over to second. And Harkins is there with a stand-up stolen bag. It almost looked like Viega got caught in the leg. But nonetheless, it's a stolen base for Harkins. And a man in scoring position now for the leadoff hitter.
Might have bounced off the catcher's knee pad there, luckily for the batter there.
So with Harkins now at second base, here's the pitch to Viega. Big cut, but he misses once again. It's a called swing and a miss strike there. Boxers trying to get the lead started for themselves, and a classic game between these two historic teams as that is poached over to short. He can't get there in time. Rounding third is Harkins as he is going to get into home with plenty of time, and the Boxers take a 1-0 lead off of a nice hit by Viega.
You see Viega right off the end of the bat. Nice hit there, right outside the glove of the shortstop. Hudson there. And just like that, Brockton on top.
Exactly what we mentioned earlier. Try to find those gaps in the infield and get base hits like that. Another pickoff attempt by Legaitis doesn't get Viega in time. And Brady Ensko, the shortstop, will step in now and try to further this lead for Brockton. They are doing their due diligence on offense in this third inning. Is this pitch inside not called for the strike?
Almost looks like Legaitis paying a little too much attention to the runners on the bag, even going back to when Harkins was on second base.
Here's the 1-0. Down low once again. It's been Legaitis' common missing point in this third inning. And he'll stay at 2-0 now. Trying to get his groove back from that second inning. Like you mentioned, it's almost as though he's paying too much attention as, once again, another pickoff attempt over to Wilcox.
I think at this point, Legaitis is trying to figure out his pitch sequence, but he's also trying to keep that timing going.
Certainly, if you can't get that sequence down and you can't get your groove, you're all sorts of discombobulated on the mound as this pitch is popped up foul over by the Brockton dugout, and it'll just get into the stands out of the reach of DeAndre. And it'll be another strike on Ensko here. Ensko currently 0 for 1 today with that pop out to Legaitis in the first inning. That was the second out of that first inning for Brockton. Viega waiting at first. Nice comfortable lead, and it is not comfortable once again. Another pickoff attempt. Legaitis certainly taking his advantage here, trying to keep Viega on his toes.
Unfortunately for BR, you have to be very careful because one of these times you check back on the runner at first and you short hop it and it goes into the dugout area.
Yeah, you make a great point there. Another attempt. Especially with the dimensions here at Campanelli, one short hop can just ruin your day, and you can go from having a man on first in the grasp of your hands to a runner on scoring position and a potential run with one swing of a bat. And here's that inside pitch, and that is launched foul over to the Shaw Center. That is another strike on Ensko now, where the runner's still on first base. Shaw Center, home to one of the many Brockton vaccination clinics as we approach the falling action of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Parking lot was full and people continuing to go in, which is very much encouraged.
Exactly. We thank all of our healthcare workers and officials who have been doing their time and helping out with all of the general public. And this pitch is popped up over to shortstop, and Hartzell will make the great catch out in left field for out number 2.
Very good range here by Hartzell, playing from his position, calling off the left fielder and the BC commit. Great range there, almost turning into a true left fielder.
Throw over to first, nothing there for Legaitis and Wilcox. Chris Carbonara, the starting pitcher now, in the batter's box. He had that electrifying double back in the first, but no runs were produced on that hit as he foul tips that for a strike there.
I think that was a very important pitch for Legaitis there because the last 3 pitches he's thrown to home plate in between all the throws over to first, they were contact hits. So now he's seeing the ball go into the glove, which I think could set him straight here.
Yeah, look at that. Great point there. Another called strike right down Main Street for Ligaitis, and Carbonara faces an 0-2 count here, trying to fight it off and bring home Viega over at first base. Certainly anticipate him on his horses here with 2 outs.
Have to think this is going low here for Ligaitis.
And runner is on the move with 2 outs. Throw outside. Throw over from DeAndre to second base. It's not there in time. The one hop there tried to gather there was Hofsis, but he can't get the tag down. And Viega's in at second with 2 outs, and Carbonara trying to poach another run in for the Boxers.
Almost look like Ligaitis has a bit of a sidearm action going, which allows Viega more than enough time to make his way to second.
It's now a 1-2 count for Ligaitis. The right-handed pitcher trying to come out away with only 1 run allowed. And here's that 1-2. And this ball is poked into center field. And Hartzell will just back up and make the 3rd out in plenty of time. So the Boxers come away with 1 run, and they take the early lead in this game, 1-0. You are listening to a joint presentation by BCA and BTV.
Artu? Where are you? Artu? Artu? Huh? Artu, you're on fire! R2-D2, you found a cigarette! Well, I don't think smoking is grown up at all. Because it's very dangerous. Smoking does dreadful things to your lungs and is very bad for your heart. Well, I know I don't have one, but humans do, and I think we should set a good example. Well done, R2. Oh, hello. You know smoking is bad for your health, and it isn't grown up at all. So please, don't smoke. R2, do you really think I don't have a heart?
Top of the 4th here at Campanelli Stadium, home of the Brockton Rocks. Chris Carbonara set out for his 4th inning of work as they are coming away with a 1-0 lead going into this inning off of a nice 1-run RBI single from Nicholas Viega. That brought home Harkins. And the Boxers now have to defend that lead in what is seemingly a fast-paced game. And Hartzell launches this into the right center gap. But in there in plenty of time is O'Brien to make the electrifying 1st out.
Carbonara starting to find his groove here. Had a 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd inning, allowed a walk in the 2nd inning, but I think he's only allowed 1 hit thus far, and he had a jam in the 1st inning, but ever since then it's just been smooth sailing for the Brockton starter.
Nolan DeAndre, the catcher, steps in now. 0 for 1 on the day from a grounder to 3rd. This pitch misses outside for ball 1.
DeAndre also the starting quarterback for the BR Trojans this past season.
Certainly a lot of kids this day and age that do it both ways. As he takes a big hack there for strike number 1 there, I should say. And here's the 1-1 from Carbonara. Working that off-speed inside once again. A beautiful curveball from 44, and it'll be a 1-2 put away coming up from the starter.
Carbonara has dialed it up a little bit here. He also has a very nice changeup, as you said, which we've seen a good amount of here this afternoon.
And here's that 1-2 off-speed. Got him, strike 3. Nice job by Carbonara to get him looking there, and it's 2 up, 2 down for the Trojans.
At this point, BR just looking to get a base runner here, as Carbonara just going through the lineup very easily. When you have off-speed pitches like this, you can do nothing else but look at it.
So here's the first baseman, Kyle Wilcox, and he'll call for time from the home plate umpire. he's been very busy over at first as him and Legaitis have been playing ping pong with that baseball and pickoff attempts. And here's the opening pitch from Carbonara. And Wilcox will try and reach for it, but he'll get a miss there, and it's 0-1 to start off. This is exactly what Carbonara hoped for in this inning, trying to limit the amount of pitches he throws, so he has that energy to do it both ways on offense. He misses down low there, out of the reach of LaRusso, and it'll be 1-1 now.
For all the nice off-speed changeups that he's had and the fastballs as well, the release point has been his biggest issue. I think this is something that he can continue to work on as the season goes on here. But you're going to see a good number of those pitches bounce, especially when you're in a high school situation.
Yeah, exactly. You make a great point, too, and especially with a lot of off-speed that he's working with, there are going to be times where you miss it, and your catcher's not going to be able to fight off that wild pitch that you're trying to create there. So as you see the season progress, I think you are correct. I think you're going to see Carbonara find his command there and work that off-speed, and especially his fastball, a lot more accurate. And the big hack there by Wilcox doesn't amount to anything there. There'll be another put out here for Carbonara. And here's that put out attempt. Trying to get the third out here. And he'll step off, reset himself. 2 outs here at Campanelli Stadium, home of the Brockton Rocks. A 1-0 score in favor of Brockton off of a RBI single from Nicholas Viega. And here is that pitch. This pitch is popped foul, and it'll hit the steel once again here at Campanelli, and it'll stay in the advantage of Carbonara. It's nice to see fans here in the stands at Campanelli, as we saw the Rocks play last season with no fans at all because of the pandemic, but it's nice to see people back here watching the game and enjoying the experience that is a ballpark.
And these people are separated very much so in the stands.
As this is popped up over to third, trying to make it over there in time is Hopkins, but it'll just get out of his reach and into the pavilion over at the Shaw Center. And we'll try this again for another put out by Carbonara.
I have to wonder if he wants to go back to that changeup. It's been such a good pitch for him on some of these put out attempts.
And here we go. Wilcox versus Carbonara. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. And here it is. Grounded right back over to Carbonara, and he will make the throw over to first for out number 3. The 1, the 2, the third out, all recorded by Carbonara. A nice job there by the starting pitcher for the Boxers. And it's 3 up, 3 down. We'll be right back with more action. You're listening to a joint presentation by BCA and BTV. Bridgewater Rainham back out on defense for the bottom of the 4th inning as they try to rebound from a 1-2-3 created by Chris Carbonara. A nice performance thus far. And Michael Legaitis trying to shake off a rocky 3rd inning, allowing 1 run there. And once again, thank you for joining the broadcast today. Brett Schaubs alongside John Luck, as we have a nice evening broadcast between 2 classic teams in the southeastern Massachusetts area, BR and Brockton.
Always great to get these 2 community access stations together, BTV and BCA, as we do mostly on Thanksgiving, but we do like to get out in the spring where we don't have to wear heavy winter coats and, dig through snow.
Certainly a nice thing, especially in this Massachusetts area, something you can never take for granted. Next thing you know, it's 70 degrees up here in April, and the next day it could be a foot of snow outside your front door. So certainly something that we love here in Massachusetts, and Certainly nice to see both stations coming together for a nice spring game out here at the ballpark. As this pitch is poked out into right field for a nice base hit by Brady with the first baseman. So Brockton picks up right where they left off in the third inning, and they get their leadoff man on.
Well, right now, if you're Brockton, all you need is that runner on first base to try and throw off Ligaitis, as Ligaitis has had a difficult time trying to focus on two things at once. As you see here, a very simple single over the second baseman's head, and just like that, Brockton with a runner on first.
Pitch inside to start out, Dominic Hopkins, and that'll be inside for ball one. Hopkins lined out to the center fielder back in the second inning, and that was the first out there. Another pickoff by Ligaitis. He's been busy at first base today. Nothing there with Wilcox as well. Grounder up the middle. Nice play by the shortstop there. The throw over to first for the double play, and they get it in time. A nice job by Austin Hartzell to make the double play himself. And 2 up, 2 down on the double play by BR.
Nice awareness here by Hartzell, realizing he's so close to second base, just take it himself. And plenty of time for the nice double play.
So now with 2 outs, Sammy Balti grounds it up the middle, trying to get a base hit here, and they will not get it in time. So a nice poach there by Sammy Balti, and it's a 2-out base hit for the Boxers. You can see there Hoffs is trying to make the slide and the throw, but sometimes you just can't do it all at once. And fortunately for BR, now there's another man on, and Ligaitis has to fight him off. Runner goes, the throw over hard, and that is in there for plenty of time. A beautiful throw there by Nolan DeAndre, and he gets the third out.
That's a big momentum shift right there for the BR Trojans. What could have very easily turned into a runner in scoring position. Good throw by DeAndre in plenty of time.
So DeAndre gets the third out for the Trojans, and crisis averted once again with no runs scored. We'll be right back to this joint presentation presented by BCA and BTV.
You know, I used to think Lions Club was all about just meetings and eye tests and that sort of thing. This demonstrates that you guys are big and you're out there, you're willing to help, and we just really appreciate it big time.
It's really sad, but we have to help. It's our goal.
We are often first to respond.
食料、水、医療、そして避難所を提供し、
重建这个房屋、学校跟其他的建筑物。
Somos sus vecinos.
We're lions.
So as we go in between the 4th and 5th inning here, Brett's going to be calling a lot of games for the Brockton Rocks. I'm sure you'll hear him a few times between BCA and BTV. As we mentioned, we do have a significant number of broadcasts between the two, and we cover Brockton Rocks games. And we talked before this game about everything going on in the FCBL and the new teams coming in that the Brockton Rocks are going to have to face.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be a pleasure this summer calling games for the Brockton Rocks along with my co-host Ben Pope for the majority of the season. He'll be joining me as well, but there are certainly quite a few new teams joining the FCBL this year. One of the highlights, especially the Norwich Sea Unicorns coming over, formerly affiliated with the MLB, former MILB team, but they'll be joining the FCBL this year, and it's going to be interesting to see all of these Division 1 through 3 prospects coming together and producing a nice season overall. And we'll have an all-star game this year in New Britain as the Bees host it, and that is launched into left field and is caught in plenty of time by the left fielder there. That is Ensko for out number 1.
We also talked about the fans coming in to Campanelli Stadium here watching this game, and I believe you said that there'll be a limited number of fans allowed to come in here, watch the Brockton Rox play, which is very important because, as you mentioned last year, there weren't any fans here.
Yeah, the stadium was almost silent last year, and we saw the Rox just, they played on as they normally would, but it just didn't have the same atmosphere as you normally see in a ballpark. Typically, you see all these fans in the stands having a great time, and it's really what makes the baseball experience is the fans. So just not having them here, it didn't feel the same, so it's nice to have them back this year and really just get the Rox getting back to where they left off in 2019. As we see Carbonara still wheeling and dealing here. Ronayne trying to get things started for the Trojans. That's upstairs. Yeah, the Rox are taking on a new head coach this year. Michael Garza will come over from the University of Virginia, and he will lead the Rox this season with a full-filled roster that includes a lot of guys like a nice freshman and Michael Quigley as well. You had former guys last year like Josh LaJoy from St. John's coming over. And that pitch finds a nice spot there by Carbonara, and he gets another strike called on Ronayne.
I have to ask you, as someone that covers the Brockton Rox, we've seen that the FCBL has been featured on NESN over the past year, so that has to be pretty cool here to not just have the Rox on NESN, but also take part in some of their productions.
It's certainly awesome to have, a high-quality production like NESN come out here and broadcast these games. I was helping as a Red Hat last season on the broadcast, which, for those of you who don't know, is basically helping, the producers behind the scenes and, doing a lot of the things that we don't see here in the broadcast. So it was nice to do that as well, but especially for the Rox, it's nice to get noticed on a big-time network like NESN and just really get the spotlight that, a lot of Summer League teams don't get. As we see here, Sam Hoffs is stepping in for the Trojans with a man on first now. Carbonara has to fight off now, trying to avoid a tie here in the game. This game has been chugging along quite quickly here. Crazy pickoff attempt by Carbonara. He bolts that over to first, but Wick can't get the tag down in time.
Well, this is probably going to be BR's best shot at tying this game with Carbonara in, as he allowed his first base runner since the top of the second inning. He was mowing through the BR lineup.
Runner goes. Throw over from LaRusso, and he can't get there in time. Throw gets away from Harkins and company over in the middle of the infield, and there's a runner on second now in scoring position for BR now.
Important here for the Trojans because now you're in a situation with one down that a sac fly moves you over to third base and getting into a better position here if you're a Trojans fan of tying this thing up.
Called strike there on Hofsis. A nice gap piece here by the second baseman will tie this game up surely for the Trojans. And here is that pitch from Carbonara. Off speed, it misses down low. And that's another ball there from 44.
As you mentioned, Villegas going back and forth just in case there's a pickoff attempt and he has to run back to his traditional position.
This ball's popped foul. It'll reach the bleachers and it'll hit the suite over by the Bridgewater Rainham side, and it'll be another put-out attempt here coming from Chris Carbonara. The big-time righty is wheeling and dealing today, but has found himself in a bit of trouble here in this inning, rather. And this pitch gets away. Almost going there was Ronayne, but he does not get there in time.
Yeah, I think that pitch just actually slipped out of Carbonara's hand as you see him working on the baseball.
Here's the full count pitch from Carbonara. trying to get the second out. Here's that pitch. Once again, fought off towards the Bridgewater Rainham side. It'll float past the steal and get into the parking lot behind Campanelli, and we'll stay at 3-2.
As I mentioned, this is a huge at-bat here for Hofstas with one down. If you can get on base here, you really make things a lot more interesting.
Attempted pickoff. Carbonara decides not to throw over. Like you mentioned earlier, one short hop will just send you into misery here, and he just tried to avoid the crisis there and just not risk it at all. And here's that pitch, popped up into left center field. Charging in his Ensko, trying to make the catch, and he'll make that in plenty of time. Ronayne will remain put at second base, and it'll be 2 down now coming up for Balsamo.
Almost a worst-case situation here for the BR Trojans. Ronayne was ready to take off, but Hofstas didn't get that much on the hit here. If you would have hit this a little deeper, maybe you're in sac fly territory, but beautiful job by Ensko coming in, ready to check on Ronayne if it came to it.
So James Nicholas, the designated hitter, will actually step in here. Balsamo on deck. Runner in scoring position with 2 outs here for the Trojans, trying to tie this game. And this is poked into the gap for a base hit. Ronayne's going to be held up at third, and it's going to be first and third for the Trojans. A huge hit here by James Nicholas, and he sets up Bridgewater Rainham for a potential tying run.
You don't need to hit the ball really hard to make a difference. All you need is something that drops into the middle of nowhere. There you see smack dab in the middle of 3 players from Brockton. And heads up running there by Ronayne, paying attention to his coach, telling him to stop and get back quickly.
So here comes Jacob Balsamo, the third baseman for Bridgewater Rainham. He's got first and third with 2 outs. It's a 1-0 game in favor of the Boxers. Throw over to first. Not in time. Chris Carbonara, of course, trying to get his groove back here after a nice showing in the 4th inning. Here's the opener. Runner goes from first. And that is a hard fake back to Carbonara. Tried to miselude the throw over to second, but it'll be both runners in scoring position now for Bridgewater Rainham. And Carbonara, all he's forced to do now is just try to hit his spots and get something going.
Almost a carbon copy of what happened in the first inning where BR just had base running issues.
Nice called strike there for Balsamo.
Right now, if you're Carbonara, you put a little more at ease here because obviously you can't steal a base here with runners in scoring position and 2 down, but obviously a lot he can do here with this at-bat.
Here's the pitch. Chopper along the third base side, and the run will score as they can't get there in time. It's a tie game here at Campanelli. Hopkins can't make the throw over to first, and once again it's first and third setup for the Trojans.
As we've seen with the Boston Red Sox in Major League Baseball, small ball can win you games and can make things really interesting. A ball off the end of the bat, it looks like it's going to jam you up, but turns out a nice RBI situation there for Balsamo.
So Coach Carney will get a bit of a situation going here. Trying to take the lead with first and third. And 2 outs with Chris Carbonara trying to find his groove once again. LaRusso was calling out the situation earlier. And stepping in now is the center fielder Cole Gallen. Trying to get the pick off was Carbonara. Can't get it at first.
At this point here, obviously you want to steal a base, but I don't know with 2 down if you really want to risk the situation and try and get another run on the board here.
Showing bunt. Runner goes from first. Sliding outside was LaRusso, but he'll opt not to throw. So second and third once again with 2 outs. And Cole Gallen has himself a nice situation for an RBI.
And this is why I'm up here in a press box and not in a dugout. As BR continues to apply the pressure onto Carbonara.
Ball down low, misses for Carbonara.
Had to imagine this is Carbonara's last inning as he's labored his way through this 5th inning. And the pitch count has to be getting up there as well, as he struggled in the 1st inning, but he managed to get through the 3rd and 4th very easily.
And here's that 2-0. Grounder over to the third base side, caught over down the line, and it'll be a 2-1 count now for Gallen. The Trojans on their feet on the bench. 2 outs, 1-1 game, second and third. Here's the pitch from Carbonara. He gets away from LaRusso, coming in to score, and they'll get there in plenty of time. James Nicholas gets the second run of the game. It's 2-1, Bridgewater Rainham.
There you see Carbonara. It looks like he held on to the ball too long, bounces off the bricks. Maybe it worked out for Brockton, because if it doesn't bounce off the bricks, maybe takes another hop or something like that. You're talking about 2 runs coming in on a wild pitch.
So Cole Gallen has a chance now to open up this lead even further now that Bridgewater has that lead. Called strike on the inside. Umpire still calling that inside pitch along the chalk line. It's been quite frequent throughout the duration of this contest. And here's the full count delivery with 2 down. And that misses outside, so for the 3rd time, Carbonara has people on the corners. And he'll try to fight off Austin Hartzell, the heavy-hitting shortstop in the lefty batter's box.
John Carney told the Brockton Enterprise earlier this season that if he could, he would have Austin Hartzell hit it in about 3 different places in the lineup. He just has that much trust in one of his key players on this team, because don't forget, the 2020 season was wiped out due to the pandemic, so a lot of these players haven't played a good amount of varsity baseball.
Yeah, you certainly see a lot of seniors from last year going away, and a lot of young kids stepping up and taking the roles that those seniors had. As we look at this Bridgewater Rainham lineup, has quite a few sophomores on the roster. So 0-1 count to start off Austin Hartzell. As you'd have to imagine, Cole Gallen would be on horses here. Pickoff attempt over at first, trying to get Gallen on a misstep there.
BR continuing to play aggressively on the base paths, and that throw over by Carbonara was pretty high, forcing the first baseman Witt to jump.
And Gallen goes. Hartzell will hold his bat, and it's second and third now for the Trojans.
I believe that's the 4th stolen base on the day for BR.
They've certainly been on their horses today, moving around as swiftly as possible. And here's the delivery from Carbonara. Tries to get that inside pitch, doesn't work, and it's 2-1 now.
The right fielder for Brockton, Foreman, playing fairly deep compared to where the center fielder and left fielder are playing.
Here's the 2-1 delivery with 2 down. Carbonara trying to fight his way back. And this is popped up into left field. Rolling back is Ensko, and he will make the catch for out number 3. So the Brockton Boxers come into this inning up 1-0, and they come out of it down 2-1. The Trojans will try to defend their lead going into the bottom half of this 5th inning. You're listening to the joint presentation by BCA and BTV. of the 5th inning set to get going as the Boxers transition to offense now, trying to fight back from the 2 runs they let up in the top half of the 5th. Chris Carbonara might be done for the day after that shaky half inning. As we get set to go here, Brady Foreman will pick up where he left off after the put out by Nolan DeAndrade, and that's a called strike to start him off.
I have to imagine Brockton would be a little more aggressive here against this BR pitcher, as he's had a difficult time here in some parts of the game.
And this pitch is lined out and caught for plenty of time by the center fielder Gallen for out number 1.
A little bit behind the pitch there, and I think the phrase is a can of corn to Gallen to center field.
And here's the opening to the second guy up here, Brady Hopkins. That's a called strike right down Main Street.
On a couple of these pitches, DeAndre's actually framed it pretty well for the umpire.
As this pitch has popped up, DeAndre running backwards, trying to make the catch, and it just gets out of his reach and plummets into the Brockton bench. And it'll be another strike now for an 0-2 count on Harkins.
If only the backstop was another 2 or 3 feet further back. As it drops right into the corner, I believe right out the railing.
With 1 out, Ligaitis trying to get his tempo back quickly, and this is fought off in the back of the netting. And we'll face an 0-2 count once again on Harkins. The shortstop responsible for the only run scored by Brockton in this contest. And this pitch will miss inside, and we'll have a 1-2 count now.
Ligaitis has had a pretty good pace when there's no runners on base, but as we saw in a couple of situations when there was a runner on first, it seemed like he just couldn't decide on when to pitch.
This pitch will miss up high. Once again, the inside does not work for Ligaitis, and it's 2-2 now. Chopper over to short. Hartzell tried to get the throw off, and he stumbles. And it looks like he is down grabbing his arm, and we'll take a quick injury time. It looks like Hartzell's okay. Looked like he might have overextended his arm there, but we'll take a brief break. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, it looks like his cleat actually caught up on where the dirt and the grass meet up. I didn't see how exactly he landed on that shoulder. Maybe just tweaked it, hopefully. That's all you hope for if you're Hartzell, who we talked earlier is committed to BC, so obviously a lot on the line in these situations besides just trying to win a baseball game here on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, certainly Boston College known for a fine number of prospects as well. Guys like Chris Gallen and Dante Baldelli currently playing up there for the Eagles.
I mean, it is a positive seeing him being able to move it in a full 360-degree angle. Not sure how much grimacing there may be going on there, but...
Yeah, if you tweak it, you're probably limited to a certain range of motion that you can make that throw off of. But like you just said, it's good to see him having that full 360 degrees of range, so... It looks like he's giving the nod to Coach Carney, and he's good to go.
Well, we mentioned that Austin has a lot of respect for Coach Carney and what he's done for the baseball team here, and vice versa. Coach Carney has a lot of respect for Austin Hartzell, and we talked about what he thinks of the shortstop for the BR Trojans. So you obviously don't want to put him in a situation where you could be jeopardizing his post-baseball career. As you see Hartzell continuing to try and get the blood flowing a little more through that left shoulder.
Yeah, certainly it's all about the respect between the coaches and the players. And like you just mentioned, Coach Carney and Hartzell have a mutual respect for one another. Certainly a nice relationship on this baseball team. So with one man aboard, Harkins not comfortable whatsoever. Legaitis keeping him on his toes. And then I'll bring in LaRusso here, rounding out the order for the second time for the Boxers. One out here in the latter half of this fifth inning. Here's the pitch from Legaitis. Doesn't get the inside call.
Right now, if you're LaRusso, if it's possible, you try and pull that pitch to shortstop. Try and make Hartzell decide whether he wants to use that left shoulder or not.
Here's that pitch. And this is poked into center field for a base hit. So the Boxers now have men on first and second. And an infield fly situation coming up for the leadoff hitter, Nicholas Viega.
LaRusso right off the end of the bat. The pitch was a little bit low, so it gets a nice bounce off the end of the bat for Gallen to throw it in. And it looks like the Trojans are going to start getting some action going in the bullpen.
See assistant coach Dave Wallace going to have a talk with Legaitis.
Looks like that's Trent Smith getting warm.
Trent's.
Excuse me, I was going to say, you have to give both pitchers credit here today. A great pitchers duel between BR and Brockton through the first 4+ innings here at Campanelli Stadium. Between these two teams, we see a lot of walks typically and batting around, but not today. A lot of pitching dominance here by both Carbonara and Legaitis.
Yeah, absolutely. Hats tipped to both Legaitis and Carbonara for great performances. Typically with offensive scoring games, you see the score ran up a bit more, but it's just a 2-1 ball game here at Campanelli. And like you just mentioned, Trent Smith warming up in the bullpen, and Rainham native. So first and second here for Legaitis. Here's the opening pitch to Viega. Big cut there. Opens up his shoulder, and he'll miss for strike one. Best situation here for Legaitis is an infield fly, and this pitch misses down low. So tied at 1 in the count here. We'll see if the Boxers try to get their horses rolling and try to advance a couple stolen bases.
If you're Viega right now, you're hoping that you can get a gapper there between the first and second baseman, a nice, decent amount of space.
Viega once again opening up that shoulder, and he'll miss again for strike two.
Looks like the Trojans also have Cam Morrison working out along the first base side as well.
Morrison formerly played for the Giants Futures Baseball Club, the organization for assistant coach Glenn Tufts, as that's poked into right field. Nick Tebow coming on, and he makes the catch with a slide. So 2 outs here, and Legaitis gets a break, and he'll have a put-away third out coming up on the Boxers.
I think that may be a game-saving dive there by Tebow, or a slide, I should say. If Tebow mistimes that, doesn't get the glove down in time, I think you're talking about either a tied game or very easily a 3-2 ball game.
Pitch misses down low. First ball now for Ensko. Made that third out in the first half of the fifth. So the Boxers still have first and second. However, this time it's 2 outs. Trying to tie this game. A chopper over to the third base side just reaches the foul. The foul side here at Campanelli. And it'll bounce onto the tarp. And we'll get another pitch rolling here from Legaitis.
We are hoping for a couple more quality pitches from Legaitis. You just want to get out of the fifth inning here. So you don't have a pitcher coming in a dicey situation, but also continuing to try and get this game moving along.
Here's the pitch. In the dirt, throw over to third, will not get there. DeAndre opts to hold on, so runners on the corners now, and the tying run is over at third for Ensko.
Luckily for DeAndre, bounces right in front of him. He only had the runner going into third base.
So Wilcox will hold the man over at first. 2 outs, runners on the corners. Throw over to first. Won't be there in time. Wilcox will not put the tag down. Brockton tried to tie this game up in a close pitcher's duel. Here's the 2-1. This pitch is poked into left field. Charging on is the left fielder, and it'll just get behind the tarp, and we'll have a 2-2 count now. That was Ronayne charging in. So slowly and slowly, Ligaitis itching his way towards the end of the inning, but he is not getting it easy. He is working for every inch of this contest.
This could be the biggest pitch of the ball game coming up here for Ligaitis.
2-2, 2 outs, runners on first and third at Campanelli. This pitch misses just downstairs. A nice spot there for Ligaitis, and it'll be a full count now.
I don't have the exact spot, but I think the umpire's given that as a strike a few times today. Ligaitis just a hair too low, apparently, for the umpire strike zone.
So the count now set at 3 balls, 2 strikes, the full count in baseball. Waiting on deck is Carbonara. The throw over to first is not applied with a tag, and we'll stay with runners on the corners. We know Carbonara had a nice hit back in the first to start off the Boxers' day. And if given the chance, you certainly expect that he's going to give that another shot. Here's that full count delivery. Called strike 3 on Ensko. Ligaitis gets the call upstairs, and the Trojans get away with nothing. No runs scored by the Boxers here in the 5th inning, and we'll head into the 6th with a 2-1 ball game. You're listening to a joint presentation by BCA and BTV. Top of the 6th getting started here at Campanelli Stadium. Thanks for joining this broadcast today. Brett Schaub's once again joined by John Luck. John, this has been a defensive ball game this far. Crisis averted by the Trojans back in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ensko called strike 3, and the Trojans are back up trying to extend this lead now. Here's the opening pitch. Back out is Carbonara. Starts off with some off speed, and he gets the called strike. So 0-1 to start out. The third at-bat for Nolan DeAndre, who is 0 for 2 for the day this far.
Getting back to Ligaitis for a second, we both thought that was going to be ball 4 there, but luckily for the BR Trojans, getting out of a big jam for Ligaitis, who was really laboring through that bottom of the 5th inning. And, flipping to the other side here for Brockton, we both looked up at the same time at the fact that Carbonara was going back out there for a 6th inning of work.
Yeah, you almost have to wonder if maybe they're trying to throw him a full game here, just trying to get him as much work as he can. As he gets the called strike there along the corner, and it's going to be a 1-2 put-out attempt coming up from Chris Carbonara. Allowing 2 runs in this contest so far with nothing more. And here's the 1-2 to DeAndre. And this is chopped foul right in front of his anklets. It'll stay at 1-2.
As we mentioned, both pitchers, they work pretty well when there's nobody on base. It sounds obvious, but they have labored a lot whenever anybody is on base. And when you get into this stage of the game, you have to wonder where base running decision-making comes into play.
Yeah, like you alluded to earlier, it's all about the mentality, and especially with no one on, you have that pressure relieved from you. If you have that guy just lurking on first and even right behind you at second base, it's just that constant reminder in the back of your head that, you have to pay attention to them, you have to pay attention to them, you have to throw over, make sure nothing's going on. So, like you mentioned, this is something that you have to keep in mind as you chug along in this game. And this is hit hard up the middle, and it'll get into a base hit for Nolan DeAndre. So he'll lead off the inning for the BR Trojans. There'll be a man on here for Kyle Wilcox.
Carbonara already around 80 pitches, so every hit you can get off him, every at-bat you can try and work full. It's going to continue to work in BR's favor. DeAndre, quick chopper up the middle. And we have a pinch runner coming in here for the Trojans.
So it looks like it'll be the sophomore Owen Gray stepping in for the place of Nolan DeAndre. Gray's first season on varsity as a full-time player. And he'll be aboard to try to bring home the third run for Bridgewater Rainham, potentially delivered by Kyle Wilcox. Throw over. And it will not be in time for the tag by Witt.
I'm just saying, when Brockton Rock season starts, hopefully you come in with a lot of paperweights and things to weigh stuff down.
Yeah, this has certainly been a breezy day here at Campanelli. Not too easy, as I have my hand on the monitor right now, but...
See, I'm the other way. I just have the monitor leaning, so, I mean, if I hit it the wrong way, we could have some bigger issues.
1-0. Owen Gray still lurking over at first base. Wilcox waiting for that pitch. Runner goes. And this is popped up out of the reach of LaRusso and way back into the stands here at Campanelli.
Again, right now the BR Trojans, obviously you want to get a hit, but a good silver medal is just continuing to build up this pitch count for Carbonara.
Carbonara, like you just mentioned, certainly trying to limit the amount of pitches he's thrown. He's already thrown a good amount in this contest. Another throw over. That's one thing we've seen in this game so many times and so frequently is pickoff attempts over to first base. You saw Legaitis doing it so frequently and so many times in the early part of this contest. Now Carbonara is looking to replicate the same thing. This pitch inside just misses, and it'll be another ball. 2-1 count to Wilcox.
So I want to go back to the bottom of the fifth there because it was a 3-2 pitch and there were runners on the corner and Legaitis threw back to first to check on the runner. The reason he did that is because if you have a ball go into the outfield, you could have that runner on first come around to score. So you want to take every additional foot that you can take if you're the BR defense.
Runner goes in between the legs of LaRusso. Gray slides. A bit of a shifty slide there by Gray. He gets up slowly. Time is called, and now the runner's in scoring position for Wilcox. And Carbonara approaches his unofficially 88th pitch here in the ball game. 12 away from 100, the triple digit. Something you don't see high school pitchers get up to too often.
I keep checking out the window to see if there's anybody warming up for Brockton, but looks like this is Carbonara's game.
Hard grounder over to third for a base hit. Here comes Owen Gray. He's going to round third, and he's heading for home. Wilcox stays over at first. The throw over to home. It's not in time. Owen Gray comes in with plenty of time for the third hit for Bridgewater Rainham. It's a 3-1 ball game on the RBI by Wilcox.
Again, you don't need the hard hit ball. You just need the lucky bounce there, and there you see it goes over the glove of the third baseman there for Brockton. And how about Gray coming around, scoring from second on a single, a well-timed single there for Wilcox.
He hit it with just enough exit velocity to make that a hard hit ground ball, and it just trickled along the left field side. Certainly something that's a nightmare for left fielders like Ensko. And time is called here. The right fielder Nick Tebow taking charge now in the batter's box. 0 for 2 on the day, grounded out to shortstop Harkins back in the second, and then lined out back to Harkins once again in the fifth. Here's the pitch, and misses outside for ball 1. Wilcox awaiting over at first, taking a fairly comfortable lead. Still on his toes, though. And this pitch right down the pipe for strike 1. A nice delivery by Carbonara. And you have to think that might be somewhat of a momentum booster back. He's got to have every inch of that momentum that he can get.
It looks like he's starting to lose a little bit of zip on some of these pitches. Maybe some fatigue coming in here for Carbonara. Doesn't have the same bite as some of his pitches in the second inning.
And this pitch off of the chest pad of LaRusso. He's doing his due diligence to prevent any sort of crises behind the dish from the off speed of Carbonara. And it's a 2-1 count now.
Carbonara taking a step off the mound here. So I think physically he's getting a little fatigued, but maybe more importantly in this situation, mentally he's starting to get a little fatigued as well.
Here's the 2-1. This pitch downstairs, ball 3. Nick Tebow, one of 3 players on this Bridgewater Rainham roster who have played for Glenn Topp's Giants Futures program, along with Cam Morrison and Owen Gray, who now play for Nakona Baseball. Here's the 3-1. And this pitch finds its spot right down the middle once again, so Carbonara fights back, and he's got his 3-2 count.
I think that was a good pitch for Carbonara there, just to see the ball go into the strike zone, get that called strike, maybe figure out the right spot to release the ball.
Runner at first. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So Tebow goes down on strikes, and that's Carbonara's first out of the inning.
I believe that's strikeout number 3 for Carbonara, and it comes at a big time here in the top of the 6th inning with a runner on first. And for a while there, it looked like Carbonara just had a difficult time getting anything going over the plate.
So Ronayne will step in now and try to bring home Wilcox. Another pickoff attempt over to second base. First base, rather. This pitch inside. We've seen later on in this game that home plate umpires just not been giving that inside call at all. Strike zone's just getting tighter and tighter.
In this situation here, if Carbonara throws back to first, I'd be really concerned right now just because that thing I point out in the 3rd and 4th inning, just in case that ball takes an awkward bounce.
You certainly don't want to short hop it as he throws inside again. Same miss there.
That pitch obviously high, but I think it was around the same area as far as distance away from the plate. So now it's starting to come into that arm angle and release once again.
Throw over to first. He is safe once again. Here we go. Chris Carbonara approaching his unofficially 97th pitch on the day. A cool, crisp evening here at Campanelli. Here's the pitch. And it goes right past Main Street for strike 1. So 2-1 count now. Wilcox still lurking over at first. Here's that 2-1. This is down low. Once again, a hitter's count coming up for Carbonara. Faced it with Tebow previous at bat. Now he's got the same thing with Ronayne.
Right now, I wonder if you even tell Ronayne to swing the bat with a 3-1 count, and Carbonara having difficult time getting the ball over the plate.
3-1. And this pitch is fouled back into the stands. It'll just roll around the steel flooring, and it'll be a 3-2 count once again. So Carbonara is not having it easy in this 6th inning. Back-to-back full counts.
Right now, if you're Carbonara, you just want to jam up Ronayne, try and get a double play here, get out of the 6th with limited issues.
Here's that 3-2, and this is hit into the right center field for a base hit. Just gets over the head of Viega. And it's another base hit for the Trojans. They have first and second now.
You wave to strangers all the time? Do I need to talk to your mom or dad about this? You know, stranger danger?
So unofficially, that's his 100th pitch, and what better way for Ronayne to celebrate the 100th pitch celebration than sending a ball just centimeters above Viega's glove. Viega had a great hop and got some great height there.
Yeah, Viega definitely, like you said, almost had it off the tip of the glove. Those are the ones you just wish you had back, just to have one more of an inch of vertical up there. But a nice piece of hitting there by Ronayne. And the Trojans, you'd have to imagine, have the green light here. If they get a hold of something from Carbonara, you have to imagine they might score some more RBIs. So this will bring in Sam Hofsis, the second baseman now. James Nicholas awaiting on deck. Has 1 RBI in this game already. This pitch down low, a nice block by LaRusso. And it'll start off with a 1-0 count.
If the Trojans start swinging at these pitches, and I'm not saying, if you are a BR Trojan fan, they should, but if you do start swinging, you have to try and get it into the gap between first and second. Anything that drops in there is going to easily plate a run.
As you see, Viega holding on Wilcox there at second. You make a great point. Anything in that gap is virtually an RBI there. I mean, you have a mile and some to choose from there as far as location. Here's the 1-0. This pitch inside doesn't get called. 2-0 now. You have to imagine Carbonara has to work something different. That outside location is just not working anymore. Hoffs is trying to drive in the scoring run at second, and this is a called strike now. 2-1.
Good framing there by LaRusso.
Here's the pitch. And this pitch is fought off, and it'll just get into the parking lot behind the first base side, and it'll once again, for the almost third time, it'll almost be a 3-2. 2-2 now. Carbonara has to think of his command very strategically here. And this pitch popped up. LaRusso has it under his glove, and it's a bit of a miscommunication here. It looked like him and Carbonara were trying to decide who was calling for it. And the easy out is now a foul ball, and we'll have another shot here. And it looks like Sam Hofsis will get a quick timeout here for an injury as Coach Carney takes a look at him.
Yeah, I think he might have just overswung there, but getting back to the drop ball here, they say communication is key in life. You got to call somebody on, say I don't got it, I don't see it, but you can't have a situation like that, and in a situation like this where your pitcher is laboring with 1 down, 2 runners on in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, it looked like Hofsis almost got the helmet of LaRusso to the eye when he threw it off, but looks like he's okay. And like you said, in situations like that, you just have to call it. Call someone off. Scream it if you have to the top of your lungs to the point where people at McDonald's across the street can hear you. But unfortunately, the miscommunication occurred, and we're back underway. And Hofsis will ground that hard over to third. The throw over to second will get there in time for the out, and they will opt to not throw for the double play, and they will get the out at second base. So Carbonara gets his second out here in the 6th inning, and that'll bring up James Nicholas now to round out the order.
Almost turned out to be a great situation for the Brockton Boxers, a nice inning-ending double play. But in this situation, you'll take any outs you can get, and now runners on the corners here. you can play a little bit more easily and a little more honestly from your defensive positions here if you're the Brockton Boxers. And if you're Carbonara, puts your mind also at ease a little bit here with 2 down in the top of the 6th.
Here's the opening to Nicholas. Runners on his horse from first to second. So Hofsissel making him plenty of time. And it's a 1-0 count to start off Nicholas.
A couple of these situations, I think very easily, is just a defensive indifference. At this point, if you're Carbonara and the Brockton Boxers, have the runner take second. This is too big of a situation here. You just want to worry about the runner or the hitter at the plate.
This pitch is foul tipped towards the backstop, and we'll get a 1-1 count now. Breeze starting to pick up a little bit here at Campanelli. Here's that 1-1. Off speed. It looks like it didn't work there for Carbonara. 2-1. Second and third now. 2 outs. Top of the 6th inning. 3-1 ball game BR. Pitch upstairs. Hitters count now coming up. 3-1 for Nicholas.
How aggressive does BR want to be at the plate? Do you lay off or do you get the green light? Easily at this situation, I could see this going either way, but the way Carbonara is having a difficult time finding the plate, I think you hold off swinging the bat.
Here's the 3-1. And this pitch misses downstairs, as you alluded to. And the bases will be loaded now for Balsamo coming up now. As it looks like Carbonara will be relieved of his duties here. We'll get a ball 4. And we will take a pitching change here at Campanelli Stadium. Brady Foreman will come in to pitch now for the Rocks. Harkins will move out to right field, and Carbonara will take position at shortstop as what appears to be the Boxers shorthanded on pitching. And Foreman will take the mound for some warm-up pitches. We'll take a short break here at Campanelli Stadium. You're listening to a joint presentation by BCA and BTV.
Not only does texting while driving significantly reduce your reaction time, but you are also 10% more likely to leave your lane. This commercial was 30 seconds. That's all it takes to avoid a senseless tragedy.
Welcome back to Campanelli Stadium. Pitching change here for the Boxers. Brady Foreman will step onto the mound to try to take the Boxers out of this 2-out bases loaded jam. Chris Carbonara is done for the day. He will move over to shortstop, and Harkins will take position out in right field for Foreman. Here's the opening delivery, and it's downstairs for ball 1. So if you're Foreman here, you have to be very careful with your pitch selection because a walk here drives in another run. Here's the 1-0. Ground ball over to third. Throw is long made over to first base, and it's popped out of the glove of Witt. Run scores. And it is a 4-1 ball game now. Let's see what happened.
So Balsamo got a nice hold of this one. It looked like it was going to be a simple put out here, but too high of a throw and a nasty collision there. Luckily, everybody coming out all right as Balsamo gets on first.
So it looks like 2 runs actually scored there, so it'll be a 5-1 ball game with runners on the corners. And that pitch is missed inside for ball 1 by Foreman.
Again, there's that defensive indifference as Balsamo moves up to second. And right now, as I said, if you're Brockton, you're just worried about the hitter at the plate. You can't really worry about the base paths at this point.
2-0 count to Cole Gallen. Trying to break this lead open even further. And this pitch attacked out by LaRusso. He'll make the catch, but it's a 3-0 count now. Austin Hartzell, the shortstop, waiting on deck. Foreman trying to get his first strike here. Here's the 3-0 pitch. And it's ball 4. Misses down low, and once again the bases are jammed with Austin Hartzell coming up now. This has to be trouble here for Brockton.
Has to be trouble, and right now I'm trying to think about how this is working out for Hartzell, because don't forget he did shake up his shoulder a little bit defensively, so you have to wonder how it's going to impact his swing, if at all.
First pitch, Foreman gets his strike. It's called on the outside corner. So 0-1 to start out Hartzell. Here's that 0-1. And this is fouled hard back into the Shaw Center. And it'll just hit the window back there. Hope it didn't crack. And it'll be a 0-2 count, so a complete 180 here for Brady Foreman. He has his put-out attempt coming up. And he'll try to avoid a crisis that's in motion right now. Here's the 0-2. Once again, fouled back into the left field stands. And it'll stay at 0-2 now for Hartzell.
Right now, Foreman has the advantage, obviously, with an 0-2 situation, but he can even go with a couple of throwaway pitches here, see if something's going to work if he comes back out for the 7th inning, try and get that mindset going here.
DeAndre waiting on deck. He started out this 6th inning. Missed outside. A nice jump there by LaRusso to make the catch. It'll be 1-2 now. As we mentioned before, Hartzell committed to Boston College. Division I in Massachusetts. Highly regarded school for baseball as well. We wish him the best of luck in his post-secondary endeavors. And this is grounded hard over to shortstop for a base hit. 1 run scores. Coming around to the Trojans. 2 runs are going to score. And they are going to hold the runner over at third base. So Austin Hartzell has himself a 2 RBI single. And it is a wide open game now for BR.
It's all about how the ball bounces. Watch the ball as it comes off of Hartzell's bat. Bounces off the mound, takes an awkward bounce. As the shortstop there, Carbonara, watches it go by, and Brockton is watching this game slip through its fingertips.
So runners on the corners now. That'll bring back up Nolan DeAndre, who started off this 6th inning with a great single. We'll see if history repeats itself here. And this will catch the inside of his bat on an early swing, and it'll be 0-1 to start.
This has been a long wait. You have to wonder, if you're the BR Trojans, who do you put out there for the pitcher? Is it going to be Logaitis going out there throwing the 6th inning? I can't imagine so, with 2 pitchers warming up in the bottom of the 5th inning, but at this juncture of the game, I think you go to your bullpen if you're John Carney.
Huge cut there and a miss by DeAndre. 0-2 now for the catcher. Brady Foreman trying to get out of this big-time jam for the Boxers. Takes his stance. Takes a look over to first. Here's the pitch. Fouled back into the netting. Will stay at 0-2. So Foreman not getting it easy here, as he's brought into a big-time jam, and 4 runs have come in since.
Foreman actually picked up the win on Wednesday against New Bedford. In the game that I mentioned earlier, Brockton came down from a 5-0 deficit for the victory.
2 outs. Runners on the corners. 7-1 ball game BR. Here's the 0-2. Once again, fouled off by DeAndre. He is making Foreman work here. As we approach sunset here at Campanelli Stadium with the glorious football stadium of Brockton High School, Marciano Stadium, just behind center field here at Campanelli. What a beautiful sight this is. Here's the 0-2. Inside, just missed. That's the spot that Brockton's been working all day, and they are not getting that call anymore. 1-2.
With a new pitcher coming into the game, typically with umpires, you have to try and work to get that spot. Carbonara is working very hard in the early stages of the game to get that strike call. He got it in the middle innings, but now with a new pitcher, you got to try and work for that call.
1-2 count. Here it comes. Swing and a miss from DeAndre, and Foreman gets out of the inning. 5 runs allowed by the Boxers in the 6th inning. It's a 7-1 ball game going into the latter half of the 6th. We'll be right back. You're listening to a joint presentation presented by BCA and BTV.
Oh. Artu? Where are you? Artu? Artu? Artu, you're on fire! R2-D2, you found a cigarette! Well, I don't think smoking is grown up at all. Because it's very dangerous. Smoking does dreadful things to your lungs and is very bad for your heart. Oh, well, I know I don't have one, but humans do, and I think we should set a good example. Well done, R2. Oh, hello. You know smoking is bad for your health, and it isn't grown up at all. So please, don't smoke. R2, do you really think I don't have a heart?
Bottom of the 6th inning. Legaitis back out for one more inning of work. Coach Carney elects to keep him out there and wait to bring in his bullpen, as the former pitcher Chris Carbonara will step into the box now, trying to spark some momentum here for Brockton, who allowed 5 runs in the top half of the 6th inning. At this point, any hit's a good hit. They have to get men on. They have to get some offense rolling, because right now they're just stuck in a rock and a hard place, and not a good spot to be in, especially in a sport like this.
And how does that play into the pitching situation for the BR Trojans? There's a 1 hit, and Legaitis is done for the day.
So a deep fly ball is sent out to left field, and that is made for out number 1. Ronaine, a nice casual catch out there, and Carbonara is retired. So that'll bring up the first baseman, Brady Witt. He's 1 for 2 on the day with a single back in the 4th inning. Grounded out to third base in the 1st. As this pitch misses just upstairs. A nice spot there by Legaitis.
We've seen Legaitis work mostly around the lower part of the strike zone most of the day.
Almost the same spot. He gets the call that time. So 1-1 here for Legaitis. And he is pounding the zone and trying to get out of this inning as quick as possible. Nice frame there by DeAndre. He catches the corner. And 1-2 now for the junior pitcher on the mound.
DeAndre has been very important today. He's framed a couple of important pitches for Legaitis.
Called strike 3. Same location, same result. A nice frame by DeAndre. And Witt is retired for out number 2.
1 pitch to Carbonara to start the inning off. And then a very nice at-bat for Legaitis to work on Witt. A beautiful pitch on the outside part of the strike zone.
So Here comes the third baseman, Dominic Hopkins. And this first opportunity is fouled back into the netting for strike one. You see Sammy Baltia waiting on deck once again. Nice pitch down low there by Legaitis, and that'll reach for strike two. So out of the 5 pitches that he's thrown, only one of them's been a ball. And look at that, called strike 3 in the outside corner. He is wheeling and dealing in the 6th inning. 1, 2, 3 are retired by the Trojans, and that'll take us into the 7th inning. 7-1 ball game in favor of Bridgewater Rainham. You're listening to a joint presentation presented by BCA and BTV. Last inning of play here, getting started at Campanelli Stadium, home of the Brockton Rocks. As we get started, the Bridgewater Rainham Trojans taking a commanding lead thus far, 7-1 ball game. And they'll look to potentially open up this lead even further and create a statement win that could put them in good position to make the tournament. And this pitch misses down low to start for ball one. So 2-0 count now. .34 now taking the mound after Foreman takes a seat on the bench. He will be done for the day.
And you see on the screen, it's a 7-1 game, but that's not indicative of how this game has gone. Chris Carbonara got the start, and he was mowing through the BR lineup through the first 5+ innings of the game. Unfortunately, he got to the 6th inning when he was approaching 100 pitches, and that's when the fatigue really started to set in.
So that'll pitch will miss down low. Once again, 3-1 count now for 34. And like you said, Carbonara had one heck of a performance today. I mean, it was just a 3-1 ball game up until the previous inning. It wasn't even that big of a difference in score. But unfortunately, Brockton elected to keep him in and reach his maximum pitch count. And that had some repercussions to it. And we see now this lead has opened up quite a bit. 3-2 count now to Wilcox.
And you have to credit the base running of the BR Trojans. It was an issue in the first inning, but ever since then, John Carney has unleashed the speed of the BR Trojans on the Brockton Boxers.
Wilcox fixes his feet, and he gets a grounder over to third. The throw to first from Hopkins, it won't be in time. So Wilcox is aboard with a leadoff single, and the Trojans are picking back up where they left off in the 6th.
As you see the shadow starting to creep in here, Wilcox, when he got it, it looked like it was stuck in his glove there for a second. Couldn't get a good hold of it on the transfer. Or, excuse me, Hopkins.
Here comes Nick Tebow now, the senior. This pitch inside gets away from LaRusso, and Wilcox will be on his tail. And he will get up to second in plenty of time. So, 34 off to a rocky start this inning. Man on second in scoring position now for Tebow. So he looks to bring him in now to make it an 8-1 ball game.
The shadow's just about up to the pitcher's mound. Very difficult for the catcher to try and pick up on it.
This pitch inside, and it catches Tebow off the ankle potentially. It looks like home plate umpire signaling so. And Tebow will be aboard on a dead ball. So first and second for the Trojans. And that'll break up Ronayne.
I think Tebow wanted to stay in the batter's box, get his swings in.
It was a close pitch. It almost looked like it didn't hit him at one point, but he gets the nod, and we'll have 2 runners aboard here for the Trojans. And that'll be there for ball 1. Ronayne 1 for 3 on the day. Rather 1 for 1, but had 2 walks. And that pitch hits the outside corner for strike 1. Nice frame there by LaRusso. No outs here in the top of the 7th inning. Same location, same result. 4:30 far. 34 trying to get something going here. Trying to find his tempo back.
And again, at this point, you don't have to be too picky on your pitch selection.
And Ronayne will launch that over back into the field of the Shaw Center. And it'll stay a 1-2 count. If he pulls that the opposite way, that could score maybe 2 runs if you see Tebow on his tail.
There is a good hole between the shortstop playing right at second base and the third baseman.
This pitch in the dirt inside. And it'll be a 2-2 count now. Infield fly rule in effect here at Campanelli. And this ball is corked out to opposite field, but it will just have enough off speed to be foul. It'll just hit the tarp and bounce back into play. But it'll stay at a 2-2 count here. Sun just peeking back out here from the clouds in Brockton, Massachusetts. It's been a fairly sunny day today, reaching about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Beautiful day for baseball. Certainly a day you look for every time you want to come out to the diamond. And here's that 2-2, just misses high. And it'll be a full count pitch coming up for 34.
And this is the perfect weather for a baseball game. Low temperatures, low humidity, nice sunny skies out, shadows behind the backstop here. Great to have fans come in and check it out.
Yeah, you mentioned humidity too. That's something that's huge into taking a factor at baseball games. And as we see here, Ronayne retired on strikes, so that'll be out number 1 for 34. But yeah, humidity has a huge factor in the moisture of the ball and how it rolls off the fingers of a pitcher for off speed, how it plays on the grass. Has so many different factors and repercussions that come with it. So definitely nice to have this kind of weather today. As this pitch starts off, Sam Hofsis inside for ball 1.
And I'll just say personally, if it were too humid out, I don't know if I'd be up here. I might be melted like Frosty the Snowman.
It'll certainly make 2 of us up here. And here's that second pitch, just a bit more towards the plate, and he gets the call for strike 1. And the 1-1 delivery. This pitch fouled towards the right field foul line. Chasing his wit, and he can't get there in time. He'll slam into the fence. It'll be a 1-2 count now. Almost had that second out in his grasp.
Wood playing just a little too far over to the left side. And a lot of territory to cover to go from his position over to the fence. As Campanelli Stadium has a very large amount of foul territory.
And this ball will catch the body of Hofsis, and it'll be another dead ball here. And the bases will now be juiced with another infield fly rule in effect for 34. Not a good position to be in, especially with the Trojans and how their offense has been playing out today. And it looks like we're going to get a pinch hitter in here. So instead of James Nicholas, it'll be the sophomore from Bridgewater, Massachusetts, Cam Morrison. We mentioned earlier, a big part of Glenn Tufts' organization, the Giants Futures, now plays for Nakona Baseball. Cam's known to have a really strong arm behind the dish. He's played a catcher throughout the majority of his baseball career. This pitch misses inside for ball 1.
More than comfortable just letting that bat stay on the shoulders at this point. As 34 having a very difficult time trying to find the strike zone and trying to avoid some of these BR batters.
Here's the 1-0 to Morrison. Outside for strike 1. Like Owen Gray that we saw earlier as a pinch runner, this is also Morrison's first season as a full-time player for varsity at BR. Here's the delivery, and this pitch almost hits the helmet of Morrison. And it'll be avoided there on the duck for a 2-1 count.
Trying to think about what 34 is looking at right now, because there is a good amount of space in the backstop area for sunlight to come through the concession area, so perhaps the sun's starting to play a little too many tricks on the pitching staffs here.
Ground ball over to second, it's safe. Almost had the play at second, but runner is in with plenty of time. And what could have been a double play is now a run scored for the Trojans. It's an 8-1 ball game.
Morrison off the end of the bat avoids his own teammates some friendly fire there. And the shortstop there, Harkins, trying to get the easy out, but couldn't, and the hits keep coming for the Trojans offense.
And this is in left field for a base hit. It's going to trickle towards the wall. Run scores. Here comes the other. 2 more runs score. So a huge double by Jacob Balsamo, and it's a 10-1 ball game for the Trojans.
The Trojans right now are looking at beach balls coming at them here. Everything they swing at is getting sent back out and turning into runs. I think we'll get another pitching change here, as it's just been kind of mix and match here for the Brockton staff.
So it looks like Brady Witt is going to take the mound here for the Boxers. We'll take a short break as he gets some warm-ups in. You're listening to a joint presentation presented by BCA and BTV. Welcome back, top of the 7th inning. We are set to go once again. Brady Witt, the first baseman, will take the mound, and another pitching change. 34 will go over to first base. Here's the opening pitch from Witt, and he gets the corner for strike 1. Runners at second and third, both in scoring position. And Cole Gallen now stepping up to the plate after a nice 2 RBI double for Jacob Balsamo. And this is upstairs for ball 1. 1-1 count now.
Right now for Witt, he just has to take the scorebook out of his mind. He has to try and just worry about Gallen. Try and get out of this pitching 2/3 of a great effort here and not view this as a 10-1 situation and him coming in to try and stop some of the bleeding.
So once again, the umpire gives him the outside corner. 1-2 count. 1 out here at Campanelli. No infield fly in effect because of the no runner on second off speed. No runner on first, rather, and it's a 2-2 count. Here's that count tied at 2. One-handed swing, fouled back towards the netting, and it stays at 2s.
And you see the shadows starting to work their way just about over the pitcher's mound, so perhaps making things a little bit easier for Witt trying to see the signs.
And this pitch is hammered into left field. Coming in is Ensko, and he will make the catch for out number 2. That'll be rallied back into Hopkins, so a bit of relief here for the Boxers. And crisis averted, and runners will stay on second and third. Coming in now is Austin Hartzell, who's had a pretty nice day for himself. 2 for 4. This actually is no longer Austin Hartzell. Looks like Karen Carson. So Hartzell will take a seat for the day. And this ball is flown out to center field on the chase. And it will be caught for the third out over at short. So the Boxers come away with 3 more runs in the score. It's a 10-1 ball game in favor of the Trojans. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 7th.
You know, I used to think Lions Club was all about just meetings and eye tests and that sort of thing. This demonstrates that you guys are big and you're out there, you're willing to help, and we just really appreciate it big time.
It's really sad, but we have to help. It's our goal.
We are often first to respond.
食料、水、医療、そして避難所を提供し、
重建这些房屋、学校跟其他的建筑物。
Somos sus vecinos.
We're lions.
And we are back, bottom of the 7th action here at Campanelli Stadium. The Boxers trying to get one last look at offense before this game potentially gets under wraps. Trying to come back from a 9-run deficit here. Here's the opening pitch from Legaitis, who is still out there trying to throw a complete game, and he gets the first pitch for a strike.
Legaitis has turned into a workhorse here for the BR Trojans in the early part of the season through 5 innings last Saturday against Cardinal Spellman. That was an 8-7 victory. He earned the win. Trent Smith came in for the save here. Legaitis wants to go the distance in, I guess, what you could call a rivalry game here between BR and Brockton. Obviously, we talked about the football impacts, but whenever you're this close to your competition as far as geographic regions go, you always want to have that advantage, especially in sports.
Yeah, certainly. You make a great point there. So 2-1 count here for Legaitis. Trying to finish this game on a good note. Big cut there. It's 2-2 now for Legaitis.
And in a 10-1 situation, you don't have to throw your best pitch. You can try and work on a pitch. Is your curveball working perfectly? If not, you can throw it, see what happens.
Nice catch made out in left field by Ronayne. And that'll be out number 1, I should say, for the Trojans. So 1 up, 1 down thus far.
Balti went golfing there. Low part of the strike zone. Pops up. Nice catch there by the left fielder, Ronayne.
So Brady Foreman will take the batter's box here, and he will ground that hard over to the third base side. And it'll trickle towards the left side. From our view, I
think that was like a mini golf shot. He bounced it off the wall and it went inside the tarp.
Hole in one, I guess we can call it here at Campanelli. And just misses the outside corner there. 1-1 count now to Foreman, who came in to pitch in relief of Carbonara, but unfortunately allowed 4 runs that open up this ball game. Once again, an early swing catches the inside of the bat. This time it hits along the fences of the Brockton dugout, and it'll be a 1-2 put away coming up for Legaitis.
And if you're just tuning in to this game here on either BTV or BCA, you see 10-1, you think that this was a blowout. But this was a pitcher's duel into the 5th inning, as we mentioned. Carbonara, the starter for Brockton, he was dealing for a good number of innings, and Ligaitis has come in here, and he continues to deal.
As we say that right now, he catches Foreman looking on the outside corner for strike 3. So 2 up, 2 down. A beautiful fastball placed there, as you see on your screen. And Ligaitis retires Foreman. So here comes 34 to try to finish this game on a high note for the Boxers, trying to come back from 9 runs with 2 outs here. Very difficult task put on him right now to lead off, and 1-0 count to start. Shaws catches the inside part there, a little bit further in. And 1-1 now. Misses. Maybe the spot that he wanted didn't get there, but he gets the strike anyway. 1-2. Here we go. 10-1 ball game. Put away coming up. Called strike 3 on 34, and that's the ball game. Bridgewater Rainham comes into Campanelli Stadium and sweeps away the win from the Brockton Boxers. They win it 10-1 off of a nice offensive showing from Coach Carney's company.
You talk about the offense, talk about the pitching staff here, and really all you have to say is Michael Ligaitis, because he went the distance here, 7 innings, in 4 of his last 5 batters strikeout. He retired his last 8 batters he faced. As this game continued to go on, Ligaitis just continued to get stronger and stronger, and that can only help the BR Trojans as they chase the SEC crown.
And don't forget about Chris Carbonara, too. I mean, he only allowed 3 runs in this ball game. It was a 3-run ball game going into the top of the 6th, and then, of course, just almost made it to 6 complete innings for him, but let up those few runs, and then it just went downhill from there. But nonetheless, a great showing from Bridgewater Rainham. Of course, Brockton looking to have a bounce-back win in their next game. But that'll wrap it up here from our production at Campanelli Stadium. Signing off for now, I'm Brett Schaubs, alongside my co-host, John Luck. We will catch you, and have a great rest of your night.